All right, what is up, you guys? Good morning. I'm gonna take you through a really quick full day of eating right now on my current mass phase. So I'm finishing up breakfast. So far I've had 4.8, I know it's so specific, but I was trying to get right on 50 grams of protein for breakfast. So 4 meals, 50 grams of protein in each meal, 3,300 calories total. So far for breakfast, I've had 4.8 ounces of ham, like deli ham, and then 3 whole eggs, 1 slice of fat-free cheddar cheese, and then 1 English muffin. So here's what's left of that, kind of like a little sandwich on the English muffin. I just eat the eggs and ham separate, and then some sparkling water to drink. But yeah, that's my breakfast. It's pretty like higher fat, normal protein, and lower carb, because I usually train in the afternoon between meals 2 and 3. So yeah, this is my go-to breakfast. I'm gonna finish that sandwich and then I'll catch you guys in the next meal. All right, what's up guys? Welcome back. So this is gonna be meal number 2 on the day. So for that, this is gonna be my pre-workout meal. So I'm gonna be having some protein ice cream and a couple apples. So this is always my meal number 2 pre-workout meal. It's noon right now. My meal number 1 was at about 7:15. So ideally my meals are at 8 a.m., noon, 4 p.m., and then 8 p.m. So 4 meals split evenly throughout the day. My protein is split up evenly across those 4 meals. So I eat 200 grams of protein per day. So each meal has 50 grams of protein. The only other variable that really changes is my pre and post-workout meals are 50 grams of protein, high carb, and lower fat. So I try to keep both my pre and post-workout meals at below 10 grams of fat, and get a good majority of my carbs for the day in those 2 meals. So this one definitely checks those boxes. Normal protein, high carb, lower fat. The protein ice cream, like recipe and amounts and all that kind of stuff, stays the same every single day. The only variable that changes is the size of the apples, which it might be a little OCD to weigh those out, but I do. It gives me peace of mind. So I've already got it in my FitnessPal. It's 48 grams of this protein powder, okay? 1 serving of this Oikos Greek yogurt. I usually do like the 000 vanilla, but they didn't have any at the store this week, so I went with this one. 1 serving of this is 170 grams, so I just throw both of those in this bowl, mix it up. The only other thing other than the apples as far as the carb source for this meal is these apple cinnamon rice crisps. I put them in my protein ice cream just for a little bit of texture. They just help with texture and they taste good. So, and they're also all carbs, so I also go with those pre-workout. And then I top it off with some 0 sugar chocolate syrup, which is like 5 calories, just because I think it helps it taste better. So this is definitely one of those meals that you can tell I'm in a muscle gain phase, because these I definitely would not be adding if I was trying to cut. I would still be eating the apples, and then the chocolate syrup is negligible. So not too different from a cutting meal, but these are definitely like something that a luxury that I wouldn't be able to have if I wasn't bulking, but I'm enjoying it while I can. So I'll show you guys how to make this, and I'll be right back. All right guys, I'm not sure if you can see, but I keep my food scale in this little drawer right here. So first thing I do is put the container of the yogurt on the scale, zero it out, put it on grams, and I go ahead and just scoop out 170 grams into my bowl here. And like I said, I do this every day, so I've got a pretty good eye for how much 170 grams is gonna be. Try not to splash it everywhere like I just did. And then I go ahead and just scoop out 170 grams into my bowl here. And like I said, I do this every day, so I've got a pretty good eye for how much 170 grams is gonna be. Try not to splash it everywhere like I just did. Try not to splash it everywhere like I just did. Okay, so once I've got 170 grams in the bowl, I'll take the yogurt off, put it away or whatever, and then I'll put the bowl on the food scale with the yogurt in it, zero it out again, and then add my 48 grams of the protein powder, which is just like a little bit more than 1 scoop. Perfect. And then next I just add a little bit of water on top of that to help it mix together. And then mix it up. All right guys, while I'm mixing this up, I want to talk about if you, let's say you think that this meal looks or sounds or would taste disgusting, right? Like just the Greek yogurt, the Rice Crisp, like all that kind of stuff is not really your thing. That's completely fine. Just remember it's all about the numbers. So there are a million different ways you could hit the calories and macros that I'm hitting with this meal, with a million different types of foods. This is just how I like to do it. This is my preference. But just remember at the end of the day, it's all about the numbers. Literally, it's all about the numbers. So if you wanted to go with like turkey and pretzels or something like that for this meal, or like, I don't know, literally anything, fruit and chicken, chicken and rice, like anything like that. There's nothing magical about like this certain meal. It's just my favorite and most enjoyable way to hit the numbers that I'm trying to hit. So once I mix it up, kind of looks like that, nice consistency. Then I'll add the Rice Crisps on top of this. So I put it on grams. 1 serving of these is 30 grams. Pro tip on this, right? So what the Rice Crisps look like is that, like in the package. So before I open it, or even after you open it, I just hold the top and I like crush them up while they're in the bag. So that way when I pour them out, they're more of like a nice texture that I like in my protein ice cream. So pro tip. All right, so I've got 30 grams in there. Put these away. Another pro tip is you might be tempted to mix the Rice Crisps into the ice cream before you freeze it. Don't do that, because what I found is they get soggy when they're mixed up before you freeze it. So if you kind of like leave them just sitting on the top, they'll be nice and like crisp and crunchy when it's time to eat. Last touch is 1 serving of this chocolate syrup. All right, boom. And then what I usually do is just throw this in the freezer for like 15 or 20 minutes, usually just for the amount of time it takes me to eat my 2 apples while I sit on the couch, watch TV or read or something like that. And then this is at like a nice temperature to eat once I'm done with my apples. So I'm gonna throw this in the freezer. All right guys, so like I said, I always do 2 apples and it just like varies on the size of them. So I go ahead and weigh those out. So I just zero the scale, put the apples on there, 480 grams today. So I've just got like the apple entry in my FitnessPal. I just changed like the slider to 480 grams or whatever it is that day, depending on how much the apples weigh, but I always eat 2. So say it's like a day where the apples are like 2 really small ones and it's only like 400 grams or something like that. I'll just make up for those carbs in a later meal, like say with my sweet potatoes, which y'all are gonna see for dinner. I'll just eat more sweet potatoes if I had less apple or something like that for that day. Like I said, tiny little difference, but that's just how I keep things exact. And then last thing I'll have with this meal is 2.5 grams of creatine monohydrate, and then just 1 serving of vitamin D supplement. Spend like a good amount of time outside, but the majority of my time is indoors, so you can never like have too much sunlight, right? So I think maybe that's what they say at least. So total for this meal, right? 480 grams of Honeycrisp apple, okay? we had 170 grams of the Greek yogurt, 48 grams of the protein powder, 1 serving of the Hershey's zero sugar syrup, and then 1 serving of those apple rice crisps. So that comes out to 673 calories, 111 grams of carbs, 6.2 grams of fat, and exactly 50 grams of protein. So far on the day, I've had just over 1,200 calories. Like I said, it's noon. This is gonna be meal 2. I'm gonna eat those apples. The ice cream is in the freezer, so I'll have that after I eat the apples, and then head to the gym, and I will catch you guys for meal 3 at 4 o'clock. Peace. All right, what's up you guys? So it's time for meal 3. Just got back from the gym. It's a little after 4 o'clock, so I'm a little bit late. But yeah, post-workout meal, I'm gonna be having some protein cereal. So this is another one of those meals that this is not something I would be having if I wasn't in a mass gain phase. It's not the most satiating or filling meal, but when you're in a caloric surplus and carbs are so high, that's not really something that you have to factor in as much as when you're in a deficit and on a cut. So for this meal, I'm gonna be having 2 cups of this Fairlife fat-free milk, 17, yes, exactly 17 grams of this protein powder. You do not have to be that exact all the time, but I thought, hey, if I'm doing a full day of eating, I might as well hit my macros exactly. So this meal has exactly 50 grams of protein in it. And then for the carb source, remember we're keeping this meal low fat post-workout. So normal protein, low fat, higher carb. So a lot of carbs in this meal. We're gonna be having 1 serving of the good old Frosted Flakes with marshmallows, very important. We're gonna be having 2 servings of these Cocoa Krispies. And we're gonna be having 2.5 servings of these cinnamon squares. They're like the Publix organic brand. Nothing special about that. It's just these have much lower fat than your normal like Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Cinnamon Toast Crunch has 4 grams of fat per serving. This only has 0.5 grams of fat per serving, so that's why I go with this one over the Cinnamon Toast Crunch. So yeah, you guys can see, and again, like I said in meal 2, it is all about the numbers. So if you don't love the idea of how these foods would taste together like I do, you don't have to eat foods like this. Or if you get sick of like having something like sweet and sugary for your post-workout, you could absolutely have like turkey and pretzels, or like a Greek yogurt and fruit, or something like that. Whatever you're really feeling, again, it's just all about the numbers. So the last thing I didn't mention is I do like more of that zero sugar Hershey syrup on top of it. So I always joke with this meal, it makes me feel like Buddy the Elf, like just that meal where he's just putting everything with like a bunch of sugar in it. But hey, when you're in a bulk, you have to be in a surplus. Carbs are extremely anabolic. So there's a method behind the madness. And then last thing is, with this meal, I go ahead and take the other half of my creatine serving for the day. So I get 5 grams in total per day. So 2.5 grams pre-workout, 2.5 grams now post-workout. So that's 2 pills pre and post. So I'm gonna make it. I'll show you guys the final product and I'll be right back. And then as far as how to make it, I mean, it's a bowl of cereal. So I think you guys know what you're doing here. The only difference is obviously we like mix up the milk and protein powder in a blender before we pour it like as the milk over the cereal. Other than that, it's just about weighing out your serving sizes with the cereal, weighing out your serving sizes with the milk and the protein powder. Guys, another pro tip, when you're weighing out liquids, right, you can either use fluid ounces or milliliters. Milliliters is going to help you get a lot more accurate. So 1 cup is 240 milliliters. I'm having 2 cups, so 480 milliliters of this Fairlife milk. And then exactly 17 grams of the protein powder. All right, so we've got that mixed up. Now I'm gonna weigh out the cereal. So 1 serving of these is 40 grams. So we're doing 2.5 servings of this one, so 100 grams of the cinnamon squares. All right, and then 2 servings of the Cocoa Krispies. This is also 40 grams per serving, so 80 grams here. And then finally, 1 serving of the Frosted Flakes. This one is 41 grams per serving, so that's important, not really. So I'm gonna zero my scale back out at 41 grams of this. So for scale, that's a pretty big bowl of cereal, right? And then talking about like volume for fat loss versus muscle gain, or muscle gain versus fat loss, whether you're trying to be in a surplus or a deficit, this is like over 1,000 calories with the protein shake, and it's like less than a quarter of a pound probably. So when you're talking about volume, this is definitely not a good thing to be eating on a fat loss diet, just because like of how light it is. It's not going to be satiating, versus if you had like this much fruit, which like has some water in it and is just overall more voluminous. This would weigh like 5 pounds if you were having 200 grams worth of carbs of like strawberries or something like that. So something to keep in mind. But like I keep saying, when you're on a mass gain phase, if hunger is not an issue, feel free to enjoy it. There's definitely some snap, crackle, and popping going on, which is the best. You love to hear it. All right, guys, so this is the final product. I'm not sure if you can see it, but yeah, it looks about like something Buddy the Elf would eat. We'll call this my Buddy the Elf post-workout meal. Total for this post-workout meal, 1,030 calories, 205 grams of carbs, 4.8 grams of fat, and 50 grams of protein. So I know you guys that are currently in a fat loss phase probably hate me right now seeing me eat this, but don't worry, your time will come. Finish your fat loss phase strong, and then be in a period of muscle gain and a caloric surplus later. There's a time for each. So I'm gonna eat this, gonna enjoy it. I'll catch you guys in meal 4. All right, you guys, so it's just before 8 p.m. It's time for meal number 4 on the day. This is my normal go-to dinner, which I have another YouTube video on how to cook this, so I'll link that below in the description. But this meal consists of 6 ounces cooked weight of top sirloin steak, 500 grams pre-cooked weight of sweet potatoes, and then 1 large tomato, and then 1 serving of Bold House Farms ranch, 1 serving of low sugar barbecue sauce, and then a little bit of buffalo wing sauce. All of those because they taste amazing on the sweet potato fries. So the macros for this meal are 127 carb, 31 fat, and 50 grams of protein, coming out to 986 total calories. So total macros on the day, 3,217 calories, 200 grams exactly of protein, 480 grams of carbohydrates, and then 60 grams of fat. I'm a little bit under on fat by 5 grams, but I'm okay with that. And then I forgot to mention, this will be dessert after my dinner. So yeah, guys, that's my full day of eating on a muscle gain phase. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you found it helpful. Like I said, it's all about the numbers, so find a way for you to enjoy hitting your number targets that are going to lead to your goal. So I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.